Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, has recently passed away, living a total of 99 years, and he lived a long and eventful life. During his childhood, he was a lonely child, while his adult life was one of privilege and duty. Here we look back at his childhood to lighten up things after the sad news. Prince Philip lived a truly extraordinary life, though rough at the start. Prince Philip was born on the Greek island of Corfu on June 10, 1921. His parents were Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark and Princess Alice of Battenberg. Philip was the sixth one in line for the Greek throne. Later, Philip's uncle was forced to abdicate, which is to renounce the throne, after the debacle of the Greco-Turkish War. Philip's father was then accused of treason and exiled from the country. This led the family to flee to Paris for the next decade. At only 18 months old, Prince Philip was said to have been smuggled out of the country in an orange crate, so a fruit crate. This did not make it easy for them. At the age of 7, Prince Philip traveled to London to live with his maternal grandmother, Victoria Mountbatten, in 1928. She was residing in Kensington Palace, this later becoming the home of his grandchildren. Also during this time, Prince Philip grew close with his uncle, Lord Louis Mountbatten. Philip also later credits his uncle to his marriage to then Princess Elizabeth. Philip was mostly raised by the Mountbatten family. In 1931, Princess Alice had a nervous breakdown and was taken to a sanatorium in Switzerland. The children back then were rarely seen their parents to begin with, as they were always sent off with relatives or friends. They were gone for the day, and when they returned to the house, their mother was gone. She was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. With his mother gone, his four older sisters married to German aristocrats and living in Germany, and his father in the south of France, where he lived in an apartment with his mistress. This left Prince Philip alone at the age of 10. Between the summer of 1932 and the spring of 1937, Philip did not receive any word from his mother. It's simply what happened. The family broke up. My mother was ill, my sisters married, and my father in the south of France. I just had to go with it. You do, one does. This was a quote by Prince Philip himself. This left no parents to care for him, which led the Milford Havens and the Mountbattens to step up. Under the care of his aunts and uncles, Philip later went to school in England, then briefly educated in Germany in a school where one of his sister's husbands owned the school, and a boarding school in Scotland. During his days at the boarding school in Scotland, Philip had to wake up at 6 a.m., sail a distance, bathe in cold water, engage in manual labor, and read 60 minutes a day on his back. Also, while in Scotland, Prince Philip experienced a few tragedies. At 16, his sister Cecil, her husband, and their 2 children were killed in a plane crash. A few months later, his uncle guardian, George Mountbatten, suddenly died due to cancer. And here is my visual aid. This is a picture of Prince Philip at 18 months old in Greece. This is a picture of the prince's family, including him, his 4 sisters, his mother, and his father. This is Prince Philip between the ages of 6 and 9. And this is a picture of him at the boarding school in Scotland. And these are my references.